NFL Power Rankings and a fantasy plan for Thanksgiving Day. This is NFL Total Access. Welcome to NFL Total Access. I'm MJ Acosta-Ruiz, and it is Turn the Page Tuesday as we officially get Week 12 underway. Coming up, Lamar Jackson in a must-win game on Thanksgiving against the Steelers. We'll tell you what he needs to be ready for. And no disrespect, but somebody is about to get dragged tonight. And our NFL Total Access game of the week is Chiefs-Bucks. Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady. Oh, you already know the guys are ready to go in on this QB discussion. But first, let's start with the latest headlines from around the league with our Tom Cicero. Tom, let's start with the Ravens, who are in the midst of COVID-19 protocols. Where do things stand ahead of their game with Pittsburgh on Thursday night?
Well, MJ, Thursday night's game between the Ravens and the Steelers remains on as scheduled. However, the NFL is monitoring this situation closely in consultation with its medical experts. Another round of COVID-19 test results will come back in the morning. Expect some decisions to be made within the next 24 hours before the Ravens are scheduled to fly to Pittsburgh. Over the past week here, I am told there are 5 confirmed positive COVID-19 cases among players, as well as 5 confirmed positive cases among Tier 1 and Tier 2 staff. Contact tracing continues. Among other things, they're trying to figure out whether these cases are related or whether they are all a function of community spread. Linebacker Pernell McPhee, the latest player to land on the reserve COVID-19 list, joining running backs J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram, as well as defensive tackle Brandon Williams. And that is not the only COVID issue in the NFL. I am told that the Jaguars' entire defensive staff was out of the building today after a positive test within that staff. Contact tracing also underway there. No word yet on exactly how that will impact the availability of some coaches for their game on Sunday against the Browns.
Oh, Tom, that was a lot to get through. But we also have some injury updates. What's the latest on Teddy Bridgewater?
Well, MJ, Teddy Bridgewater, I'm told, is expected to get some practice work on Wednesday. And if all goes well here in the coming days, Bridgewater should be on track to return to the Panthers lineup and start on Sunday against his old team, the Vikings. Meanwhile, running back Christian McCaffrey, I'm told, is also expected to get some practice work on Wednesday. He's coming back from a shoulder injury, status up in the air. We'll see how that plays out over the course of the week. Vikings wide receiver Adam Thielen also has his status up in the air after he landed yesterday on the reserve COVID-19 list. I am told Thielen did have a positive test for COVID-19, but he also had a negative test for COVID-19. The NFL and its medical experts continuing to sort through that situation to determine his availability for Sunday. Elsewhere, Chargers running back Austin Eckler, I'm told, is expected to be designated for return from injured reserve, the first time he will have practiced since week 4 when he suffered a significant hamstring injury. They'll have to see, though, how things go in the coming days here before determining whether Eckler potentially could face the Bills on Sunday. 49ers also getting a running back in action. Raheem Mostert officially designated for return today, as was running back Jeff Wilson Jr. Coach Kyle Shanahan had expressed optimism before the bye. These guys would be back soon. We will see whether or not they are ready to face the Rams on Sunday.
Tom, a lot of question marks heading into Week 12. That's why we have you to keep us up to date on the latest and greatest. Thank you. All right, and the NFL announced changes to the Week 15 schedule. It is an NFL Network doubleheader on Saturday, December 19th. That's Bills at Broncos and Panthers at Packers. And in case you missed it, here's a look back at last night's game.
Two great defenses going head-to-head, but when you get those quarterbacks going, it's hard to say how it's going to turn out.
Goff, he's looking left, in breaking route, caught the goal line, and scored by Van Jefferson.
Evans fights to the 3, he fights to the 2, he dives to the end zone, touchdown, fire the cannon for Mike Evans.
Goff back to throw, swings it left. It's Akers who takes it in. And LA is back on the high side. Straight back drop. He lets it go. Deep middle. It's intercepted. Fuller with the pick of Brady.
That's what a consistent pressure package will do to a quarterback.
Brady back to throw. He spins it down the right side and intercepted. Intercepted by Fuller at the 30. His second of the game. He takes a knee. And that should do it for Monday Night Football.
Let's go a little deeper. Take a look at some next-gen stats powered by AWS. So according to next-gen stats, Tom Brady is 0-19 on deep passes in his last 4 games. So just look at the difference here from the first 7 games of the year to weeks 8 through 11. Brady has 3 picks on deep passes in that span. Let's bring in the guys for this one. James Jones, D'Angelo Hall, and Maurice Jones-Drew with me now. D-Hall, I assume your DB senses must have been going off last night watching this game. I mean, Brady has 9 interceptions so far this year. Bruce Arians, by the way, guys, saying today that it's not a lack of confidence there for Brady, but rather a lack of continuity with a little mix of some confusion there on coverages. So, D-Hall, what is your take on what's going on with Brady?
You know what, MJ? I fought the temptation for weeks, and you know, JJ will probably even say years to dispute the fact that Tom Brady is done. And when I watch this film, it's hard for me to argue that he's not done. Tom Brady was the GOAT, and to see Tom just drop back and just throw the ball up. Look, I've got a lot of interceptions in my day. I played Tom Brady a couple times. Never got an interception from Tom Brady. When you talk about watching Tom methodically pick apart a defense, I didn't see that last night. And, you know, every coach wants their quarterback to be this or be that. I know Carson Wentz is taking a lot of heat. But if you got a dude like Tom Brady who's out here looking like this with all the talent that he has around him, I don't expect any quarterback, in the National Football League to have a continued success as they get up in years. Because as you see with Tom Brady, man, something is definitely wrong. And, man, if I knew what was wrong, I'd call the man and let him know.
Well, I'll say this, D-Hall. It's not necessarily that Tom Brady's bad, right? Let's look at the track record of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and what Bruce Arians likes to do. When he was with Indianapolis with Andrew Luck, 30 INTs, right? They're taking shots down the field. They get a lot of sacks in that offense. And what happened last night as I called the game was that the Rams defense is really good. And when the Bucs play really good defenses, i.e. the Saints or the Chicago Bears, they tend to struggle because Tom Brady's a guy that likes to get the ball out quick. The reason you weren't getting those INTs is because it's always 3-step drops, that he's throwing the ball under 10 yards when he was with the Patriots. Now look at him. Everything is over 10 yards, 12 to 15. He has to hold the ball a little bit longer. That allows the pressure to get to him. And then get on top of that, it's hard when you don't know if you're not seeing the field the same way as a wide receiver. I was with JJ in Oakland. And the time and the effort that you put in with Matt Schaub and Derek Carr paid off. They didn't have that time. So as he's still learning, I'm not going to say he's done. I'm not going to say he's done. But he is struggling a lot, and he's struggling against some top-notch defenses.
Well, Drew, you're in denial just like D. Hall was in denial weeks ago when I said that Tom Brady was struggling and was done. Drew, I understand that this is a shot offense and it's about taking shots down the field. But Tom ain't throwing the ball to nobody, Drew. Some of these interceptions, like D. Hall said, are plays that really young quarterbacks are supposed to make, not the Tom Brady that we're used to seeing. Tom has lost it, and it's clear as day. When you put on the film, it's clear as day, Drew. It's on the film. It's way too many playmakers around him for you to sit here, Drew, and give Tom Brady, the guy that has 6 Super Bowl rings, to give him all those excuses, because that's what they did for him last year in New England. He doesn't have the weapons, and then he came into Tampa with all these weapons, and everybody said it's going to change, and it's the same. And the only thing that stayed the same was Tom.
Listen, he just scored 46.
We did not see this Tom Brady last year. We didn't see this Tom Brady last year continue to put the ball in harm's way. Like, I heard somebody say it's been no difference between Tom and Jameis for the most part. Tom is dropping back throwing balls. It's almost like Tom is in the huddle saying, hey, B, this one coming to you, man. Hey, Mike Evans, this one's coming to you. Like, Tom exploited matchups when he was in New England. That's what made them so effective. I'm not beating my head against a brick wall going against Jalen Ramsey. No, sir. When I got all these other one-on-one matchups that I can go to, and you saw at points in this game, he did go to some of those one-on-one matchups. MJD, you're a little bit of a homer now. The Rams defense is really good, but it was guys open. This was Tom Brady's, to me, just downpour on what we thought we were going to get on this primetime game.
I'll end it with this. He struggles against good defenses. He just put up 46 last week against the Carolina Panthers. We can't say that he's done, even though he's going to miss passes, because we all know if you're in the first year, JJ, you can say check your head all you want to. When we were in Oakland, we were missing stuff, and you know this. It takes time to build that camaraderie.
Drew,
I'm not saying that he's going to be New England, but he's not.
I know, but you're sitting here
better than half the league.
You're sitting here fighting for Tom, saying that he's terrible against good defenses. I mean, what we gonna grade him off all the bad teams he played? You gotta beat the good teams.
There's a lot of people that play bad defense.
I want you guys at home to understand that this has been going on all day. It's not just when the cameras come on, but this is why I love these guys, because they do not mince words. Don't worry, we're going to get into a whole lot more coming up a little later. Guys, just sit tight for now. Thank you.
Bench the worst quarterback in the league right now. It's not that hard to do.
Wentz, he's looking. He's sacked for a safety. He didn't throw it away. You've got to throw that football. The whole world knows that.
This guy has been beyond awful.
Wentz, he pumps, he swings it out, and it's intercepted! It's intercepted!
I don't know what he was doing on that play. That might have been the worst play of the game.
Wentz in the gun, he is floating it, and it is intercepted by the Browns.
We hit the iceberg. We're going down.
All right, from Brady to Carson Wentz, another QB on the hot seat. So take a look at Carson's numbers, career numbers this year. So in 2020, thus far, Wentz has posted his worst win percentage, worst completion percentage, pass yards, picks, passer. I think you get the picture about what we're trying to paint here. So Michael Robinson and Coach Brian Billick joining me now. Now, Doug Peterson, he's sticking by his QB. Is that the right move, or is it really time to sort of bench Wentz? Rob, what are you seeing from Carson right now?
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and go that far and say that it's time to bench Carson Wentz. But I will say he is struggling, and he is becoming part of the issue in Philadelphia. And, of course, I have some film to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. And I think Carson, just like a lot of young quarterbacks, have to understand when the play is over. Like you look at right here. Let the ball go. You know what's in front of you. You know your offensive line is not blocking well. Let the ball go. Get the ball out of your hands early so that you don't give up a sack and give up a bad play to your offense. Again, you look at right here, a little flood concept up at the top of the screen. Again, you look at the flat. There's a blitz coming off the edge. The flat is wide open. I mean, that's why you design the play so that if they have a blitz, you can throw the flat. But I agree. Okay, you avoid the pressure, and then you throw it. You just throw the ball up. You can't have plays like this and be the franchise quarterback. This is understood why all the criticism is coming Carson Wentz's way. Again, I have to say, it's a lot going on around Carson Wentz. That's why I'm not going to say that you have to bench him. But you can do some things, maybe interject your backup, maybe interject Jalen Hurts into that offense just a little bit more, get some exciting plays because, Coach, 40 sacks, 18 giveaways, 94 quarterback hits, that won't cut it. It's all tops in the National Football League.
Yeah, Mike, we talked about it on our TA podcast. The problem for Carson Wentz, and we've said it many times, there's nothing going on around him. His whole game is kind of Roethlisberger-esque, isn't it? It's buy a little extra time in the huddle, shrug off that defensive line, just that little extra step, that little extra time, and I'll get the ball down the field. Well, he's not getting the extra time. You looked at the B-roll we ran to start this segment, going, why is he missing these players? Because he's getting hit. He drops 3, 5, 7 step. There's a defensive end or a DB waiting for him at the top of his drop, and they're going to hit him. So it's real simple. I'm going to clamp down on the receivers. not let the ball get out early, because my defensive line is going to get home if it's anything more than a second and a half, 2 seconds. Carson Wentz, this is not Carson Wentz's game to play it in this way, and he's getting no help at the receiver position and certainly not in the offensive line. So I'm not making excuses for Carson Wentz, but there's nothing going on around him that lends any hope that it's going to get any better for him. I don't care if it's a good defense or a bad defense.
And Coach and Emram, you guys hit it right on the head. It's not as simple as, oh, let's bench Carson Wentz. There's a lot of things that go into this type of decision and a lot of things to consider as well. Coach, Emram, thank you. All right, here's how the NFC playoff picture stands heading into Thursday. So whoever wins that Cowboys-Washington game would actually move into first place in the NFC East and kick the Eagles out of playoff contention. But we have a lot more coming up for you this week on NFL Total Access. Wednesday, Lions running back Adrian Peterson joins us ahead of their Thanksgiving game against the Texans. Then Thursday, we'll have 3 shows, 3 of them bringing you all the Turkey Gate highlights and post-game reaction. And Friday, Colts running back Jonathan Taylor joins us as Indy gets ready for division showdown with Tennessee on Sunday. Plus, we got game picks. And of course, my boy James Jones is putting somebody on upset alert. Coming up next, we're going to turn on the hype machine and then just kind of let it do its thing.
Make it personal, baby. Let's go.
The NFL Total Access Game of the Week, a serious showcase of the 6-time champ and the defending champ. Brady and Mahomes, the Bucks and the Chiefs. Kelsey, you got Coach ready. We'll take care of everybody else. Plus, 25 NFL stars on the short list for immortality. And one NFL fan who's already there.
I can't believe it!
The incredible story of Ravens superfan Mo Gaba will be told tonight on NFL 360.
Let's go, Mo!
But we'll get it started, still to come on NFL Total Access.
Started at 10 a.m. Eastern with NFL Game Day Morning.
I'm a giant turkey.
The Steelers look to get one step closer to an AFC North title, but the Ravens may have other ideas. We'll break down what Pittsburgh needs to do to complete the season sweep. And it's rare that one person can uplift an entire city, but that's exactly what Ravens superfan Mo Gaba did.
With the 123rd pick in the 2019 NFL Draft.
You don't want to miss his inspiring story. And speaking of inspiring stories, Kurt Warner sits down with Washington quarterback Alex Smith as he prepares to face Dallas. It's all ahead on NFL Game Day Morning, Thanksgiving Day at 10 a.m. Eastern.
It's the Chiefs again against the Raiders. Why not? Mahomes to Kelsey. Snap to Brady. Post hold the end zone. Up ball, Mike Evans. Cut back left, run it. Goes to Edwards-Helaire. CEH with TD1. Go out to the end zone. Gronkowski with a touchdown. And that New England combination now in Buccaneer pewter and red. Near side, Tyreek Hill catches the ball at the 5. Touchdown, Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes is carrying him off the field.
All right, you can call this old school versus the next generation of superstar quarterbacks. Here's how Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady match up this season. Mahomes and the Chiefs, 9-1. Brady and the Bucks, 7-4. Mahomes has the better completion percentage, more pass yards per game, and a higher passer rating. And Robin D'Angelo Hall with me now. Y'all have been going in on quarterbacks, so listen, our game of the week features 2 QBs going in very different directions, guys. Mahomes has Kansas City rolling. Brady and the Bucks, yeah, not so much. D-Hall, it might come down to the Bucks' defense here. How do you contain this Chiefs offense?
Well, I tell you what, Coach Bowles is going to have to throw that game plan out that he was using in the first half. When you saw Jared Goff just sit back there and pick apart the Buccaneers defense, man, if I'm Patrick Mahomes, I'm sitting at home like, dude, I think Cooper Kupp is a great player, and I think Robert Woods is one of the most underrated players in the league. But they have nothing on these Kansas City playmakers down the football field and running backs out of the backfield. And so when you think about the way the Bucs were just so off balance with what the Rams were doing, man, and then you give Andy Reid the time to sit there and draw up plays and specifically script where he wants to try to attack this Bucs defense, man, because they show some weaknesses. I know to a man the Bucs defense are very athletic, but they just did not look like they came to play. And I think it's going to be much of the same when you talk about this explosive Chiefs offense and Patrick Mahomes, who's the gunslinger throwing the football.
Yeah, I think the Bucs, they need to take a page out of the Las Vegas Raiders defense. They kind of played a little cover 2 man, stayed real deep with the safeties, and got after Patrick Mahomes with their front four. But also they played complementary football and they ran the football. And I think if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers truly took an honest assessment of their offensive line and what they do the best at, running the football, to me, is what this offensive line does better than one-on-one pass pro, especially without their best offensive lineman in Ali Marpet in the lineup, being able to pass up those inside games to be able to get to Tom Brady from the inside of the pocket. So if I'm Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady, I'm thinking about handing the football off to this guy right here that you see on the screen, Ronald Jones, a little bit more. I know they're only averaging about 98 rushing yards a game, but that's because they only run the ball only 37% of the time. It's like just because they have these shiny toys on the outside in Tom Brady, they're trying to just throw the ball and force the ball down the football field when, again, the engine of their team, which is the offensive line, the engine of every team, which is the offensive line, they're built to run the football. I'm telling you, run the football, Tampa Bay, you'll win more games.
Well, okay, listen, there were 3 words that Bruce Arians used earlier today: continuity, confidence, and confusion. Now, we already know we have the confidence. If there's time left on the clock, you give it to Patrick Mahomes, he's going to hit a game winner, right? I am confused because that's what we thought we could expect from Tom Brady, but we really have not seen that consistently this season. Thank you, guys. We'll check in a little later. Time now for the Gold Jacket semifinalists presented by Ford. Earlier today, the list of potential Hall of Fame enshrinees got a little smaller. Here's the 2021 Gold Jacket semifinalists. I mean, another absolutely incredible list of legends. A few guys standing out there: Jared Allen, of course, John Lynch, Peyton Manning on the list as well. And the list continues. We got Clay Matthews, Charles Woodson, and Bryant Young. Jared Allen actually reacted to the news a little earlier today. Take a listen.
I was cracking up. As soon as I saw it, I was pointing. It was actually, and I was laughing more because I knew the sack would get credited to me. Because Kevin and I had, I think it was a previous game or something. But anyways, Kevin and I were racing to the sideline, running a quarterback out of the sideline one day, and he dove and he was closer. And he got credit for the sack, and I was like, that's BS. So that's why I was cracking up too. I'm like, this dude literally just ran out of the back of the end zone, giving a safety and a sack. And I think Kevin was up on me in the year by like 3 or 4 at the time, and so I picked up a cheap one. And yeah, it was all fun and games, but that's still one that everybody laughs about. Orlovsky. Every time I see him or talk to him, he brings it up. And, yeah, I've never seen it before. I like hitting people, so I wish he would have stood there, at least just, lay down, let me hit him at least.
I love that he's talking about sacks, but he's sitting there nice and cozy with his sweater. Congratulations to all the semifinalists. All right, here's the hard truth in Baltimore. Don't worry, it's a tough city. They can take it. No one cares, though, that you're exciting if you're not efficient. And no one cares that you outgame the Steelers if you don't outscore the Steelers. And that's exactly what happened in Week 8. Coming up next, what happens on Thursday? We'll be right back. An absolute must-watch there. All right, but on Thursday, we've got 3 good ones on Thanksgiving. Texans at Lions to start you off. Washington at Cowboys, the entree there. And, of course, your nightcap Ravens at Steelers. And we've got you covered starting with Good Morning Football right here on NFL Network. It's a full-day lineup. GMFB followed by Game Day Morning, and then 3 scoops of total access to get you through all the way up to after Ravens and Steelers. Ravens looking for some revenge here. Let's take it back to Week 8 with a highlight rewind. Steelers at Ravens. Remember, this was the first meeting between Ben Roethlisberger and Lamar Jackson. So fourth quarter, Steelers were trailing by 3 first and goal. Big Ben to Chase Claypool for the 8-yard touchdown. By the way, Claypool has scored at least 1 touchdown against AFC North rivals this season. So let's fast forward. 5 seconds left in the game now. Ravens trail by 4, 2nd and 10. Lamar Jackson fires one to Willie Snead. Nope. Broken up by Minkah Fitzpatrick. Bye-bye. Steelers, of course, win at 28-24. Lamar had 4 turnovers in this game. So here's a look at the AFC playoff pictures. Ravens in a must-win situation right now. They're sitting outside the playoffs as it stands today. Let's open up the playbook on this one. Who better than our Super Bowl winning coach, Brian Billick, who knows a thing or two, by the way, about coaching in this rivalry, of course. Coach Lamar Jackson is as dynamic as they come, no doubt. But how will the Steelers defend Lamar Thursday night?
Yeah, well, to say Lamar Jackson has struggled with the Steelers is an understatement, not only because of the great talent, but schematically, there seems to be times when he's confused about what he's seeing. He's had 5 interceptions in the 2 substantive games that he's played against them. And you can look at the film and see what the Steelers are doing. And it's patent Pittsburgh Steelers. This is just a basic 4-man front, right? But they're going to change it up. They're going to take Williams and walk him up. Obviously, he's going to come. And they're going to drop Dupree out the backside. All right, so in doing this, now it's still just a 4-man rush. You can see Lamar Jackson, he wants to go to that side, but he sees Dupree has dropped off. So that takes him away. Well, I'll just drop it off to the weak side. What he hasn't accounted for was the inside linebacker, Spillane, who has jumped into that vacated zone that Williams had when he stepped up into the rush. Ends up being a pick 6 in the opening series of the game. Now, they're going to take Dupree, put him outside of J.J. Watt, and they're going to drop Highsmith off the other side. So now you drop J.J. Watt. Look at Lamar Jackson. It's like he doesn't recognize the guy's going to drop his feet. He's backpedaling. He wasn't under pressure, and it was a very poor throw. They're going to do the same thing here in the same situation, 4-man rush. This time they're going to bring Dupree on the inside. Now, they end up one-on-one, and, of course, Watt goes to the outside. They end up with Edwards on Dupree. This is just not going to be good, and it ends up with the strip, sack, fumble. So in critical situations, it's the classic Pittsburgh Steelers. They bring a variety of pressures. They only have to do it with a 4-man rush, and it's yielding some real confusion for Lamar Jackson. He's got to be able to sit in the pocket, recognize that a lot of these zones, there's going to be someone to go to, but he has to recognize where the moving pieces go to. Again, it's classic Pittsburgh Steeler defense, and they're doing it with as talented a group of defense that we've seen in a while in Pittsburgh. So that's going to be the challenge clearly on Thursday night.
And Coach, as the theme here, as you're going through all of these different plays here, especially when you're going up an undefeated team like the Steelers, is making sure you account for everything, recognizing there's definitely a lack of that there from Lamar. Coach, thank you as always. Here's what the rest of the Steelers schedule looks like, though. Week 12, of course, Ravens, and they've got Washington. Then they visit the Bills on Sunday Night Football, at Bengals for Monday night. Then they have the Colts, and finally they visit the Browns. MJD, come on in here because you saw how Coach was breaking down how to defend Lamar Jackson. Let's run through the remainder of the Steelers schedule here because I want to know if you have them finishing undefeated.
Well, MJ, look, I want all the Pittsburgh Steelers fans out there to watch this because as much hate as I've been getting, it's been crazy. So here we go. Starting off with the Baltimore Ravens. That's going to be a W. Baltimore right now, they have a lot of guys on the COVID list. J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram. They're just missing a lot of guys, some staffers. I just think it's on the short week. That's going to be tough, especially with the facility closed. Let's go to the Washington football team. Alex Smith and company, they're doing some good things. But against that defense, I just don't know. And the way Big Ben is slinging the ball around, going empty, I say that's another W there.
That should be a dub.
No question. Now, the Buffalo Bills, this is going to be a tough one. And I believe in Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, what they're able to do and the way that defense flies around. Going to Buffalo is going to be tough. The last time they did it, they had Le'Veon Bell. It was a snow game. He ran for 30 carries, a bunch of yards. I don't know if they can do that, but I believe in that Pittsburgh Steelers defense like Coach Billick talked about and how they're able to affect the game. I think Pittsburgh wins that one.
Wow.
Next, the Cincinnati Bengals. You just go ahead and put a W up there. They, right now we're running with a backup quarterback.
It's rough.
Times are rough. This is going to be the Bills and the Colts are going to be 2 games that they're going to have to really put their best foot forward. Now, and I believe the Colts and that defense and what they're able to do playing cover 2. I want to see how Big Ben does it. And can Phillip Rivers really do well? And the reason I'm going to give the Pittsburgh Steelers the edge here is because they have the #1 defense. They find ways to get sacks, turnovers. Minkah Fitzpatrick has been lights out. The way he was a ball hawk against the Jaguars was huge. And then, listen, we already saw what Pittsburgh did to Baker Mayfield and company in Pittsburgh. I don't care if you have Nick Chubb or not. Baker Mayfield can't beat the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. So as all the Steelers fans in Pittsburgh and throughout the country and throughout the world, you see it here. I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers will go 16-0. I think, and I believe this. It's because they don't play back-to-back tough games. So they get an opportunity to get some rest in some of these weeks, Sunday night to Monday night. Mike Tomlin's done a great job.
I know it's awkward. That's the only one I disagree with you. I think that might be their first L of the year. MJD, thank you. All right, the perfectly timed stiff arm is the equivalent of getting dunked on, right? Just ask Josh Norman or Joe Osman, who had to know he'd be seeing Nick Chubb ragdoll him well, pretty much for years to come. And no disrespect, but that's absolutely correct. The proof, though, that's next. In this year's Pro Bowl vote presented by Verizon. Cast your vote and make sure your favorite players earn their place on their 2021 Pro Bowl roster. Vote today at NFL.com/Pro Bowl vote.
Chase Winovich just threw him out of the club. Goodbye.
Be one heck of a bouncer, wouldn't he?
Brady is taken down. Khalil Mack steps up and gets a sack.
Yeah, against the rookie, Tristan Wirfs, and just body slammed there.
Oh, that's painful.
Wow. Oh,
What was he thinking? That's a touchdown off the board. Hurdle a player in the goal flap. None other than it's Darius Leonard.
Not
just
today.
throwing him right back to the turf. And the Maniac says, nuh-uh, what are you thinking? With a stiff arm, throws a man down. He took him off of his feet. Oh, my goodness.
He just made Josh Norman reconsider whether or not he wanted to play again.
You guys know what time it is. It's time for the hottest segment out. No disrespect. You can say whatever you want as long as you say no disrespect sometime during it. Mike Robb, start us off right.
All right, okay. I'm going to that Philly game from this past weekend, right? Not Philly game, I'm sorry. The Chiefs-Raiders game. Malik Collins, number 97, no disrespect. Do not get chopped in the face like this and don't do nothing back. I know it was probably smart. You didn't get a penalty, but dog, you got to live with that one in the film room. No disrespect, big dog. Ooh.
Hey, man, my no disrespect, I'm going to the Carolina Panthers Detroit Lions game, man. And Detroit, how do you get shut out with the backup quarterback, P.J. Walker, man? I just saw Matthew Stafford and that Detroit offense play, and I said, man, I'm taking Detroit, right? Man, was I wrong? No disrespect, man. P.J. Walker, good job, brother, because you totally disrespected the Lions. Yeah, the Lions laid an egg, but my no disrespect, Tyler Lockett. First, we get a great catch, toe drag swag. But come on, referee, man. Hey, this look like you root for Tyler Lockett. You can't dap the man.
Oh, he dapped him
you
up.
are repping the game, man. I'm a Cardinals fan. I'm like, come on, rep. You can't dap him off
He
like
dapped
that.
him up.
But come on,
How you
rep.
Listen, I'm not mad.
dog.
That was a great catch. I'm not mad. Here we go. I'm gonna go to Cleveland, where Nick Chubb. Listen, you can't treat other grown men like this. This is Joe Osman, a defensive end for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, that's somebody's daddy
With no
out
gloves
there
on.
with no gloves on. Just old school defense.
No gloves on.
Like, look at He's not even looking at you. Put it on your throat. Now, I've always been afraid to get done like this on the field because I got kids. I just wonder what Osman's kids going to say to him. I don't know. No disrespect. MJ, back to you.
Keep it classy for the kids. Speaking of keeping it classy, it's time for the checks list. Kimmy Checks, welcome in, girl. Listen, you've got some Thanksgiving appetizers. You know I'm always hungry, right? So I know you have some Thanksgiving appetizers for us. An early look at who to start and sit on Thursday.
Okay, so speaking of Thursday, guys, it's not just one Thursday night football game. There are 3 different games throughout that day. So reminder, set your lineups early. I want to focus in on this Thursday slate of games and give you some of my favorite starts and my favorite sits. Let's start with the starts. Duke Johnson. If we've learned anything this season, it is to start your running backs against the Lions, who give up the most fantasy points to running backs this season. Another easy start is Terry McLaurin going up against the Dallas Cowboys. He's been good this entire latter half of the season. Keep him in your lineup because they are so susceptible to the passing game. Another guy in this exact same game is J.D. McKissick, the running back. Yes, I like him as a running back, but I also like him as a receiver because he gets himself involved in the passing game. For the same reason you want to start Terry McLaurin because they're not good against wide receivers. Start J.D. McKissick because he gets targets as well. As far as the sit on these Thursday slate of games, the running back situation for the Baltimore Ravens isn't so great. J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram have been placed on the COVID-19 list, which just leaves Gus Edwards. Still, don't start him against the Steelers because they're allowing the least fantasy points to running backs this season. Another guy to sit, I dare say it, Lamar Jackson. He averages only 13 fantasy points against the Steelers in those 2 career games he's played against him. I do not want any part of this Ravens offense against the Steelers. Such a tough matchup. And last but not least, it's Michael Gallup going up against the Washington football team. Now, Andy Dalton is back at quarterback. That means good things for CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, but not so much good things for Michael Gallup. He put up 0 points the last time he played them this season, so just avoid him all out. But reminder, set your lineups, please. 3 games on Thursday.
Ooh, you said you don't want any part of that Thursday night nightcap. Big Ben is my starting QB, and guess what? He got me a win this week, Kimmy. It finally happened. Yes! Remember, you can watch Kimmy and the entire Fantasy Live crew weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on NFL Network. And have a happy Thanksgiving. All right, time now for the Pepsi Rookie of the Week nominees. Here they are. Oh, look who's back. Chargers QB Justin Herbert. We have got Washington running back Antonio Gibson. Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Cardinals linebacker Isaiah Simmons, and the Rams DB Jordan Fuller. So go to NFL.com to vote. The winner will be announced on Friday night right here on NFL Total Access. And remember, this is NFL Total Access. I'm MJ Acosta-Ruiz, and there's just no polite way of saying it. No one playing in the NFC East seems at all interested in winning the NFC East. And yet, in about 6 weeks from now, somebody will. The question is who? The answer is next.
Dalton looking left, throwing a fade, back of the end zone, diving. Lamb, what a catch! He's got the touchdown.
I can't describe how hard it is to look over one shoulder, then fall back with one hand to corral that ball for the touchdown.
CeeDee Lamb only has a couple of days to stretch it out and get ready for Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. Of course, Washington at Cowboys is that middle game there. But first, we start you off with Texans at Lions. You round it out with Ravens at Steelers in primetime for Thursday night. And we've got you covered all day long here on NFL Network. Of course, we start with Good Morning Football, followed by Game Day Morning. And we have 3 different versions of Total Access, getting you ready for every game and bringing you the highlights afterwards as well. All right, we talked about CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys, that middle game there. This is how the NFC East standings look right now. All of these teams just a hot mess there. Whoever wins, of course, that Washington Cowboys game will move on up to the top spot there. So Michael Robinson and D'Angelo Hall back with me. D-Hall, the NFC East, make it make sense, man, please. Does anybody want to win this division, truly?
MJ, I don't know if anybody wants to win, but since somebody has to win and represent this division in the playoffs, why not my Washington football team, right? You know, when I sit back and I watch Philly play and Carson Wentz still turning the football over, they found their franchise guy. He's been a part of that system for a while. I watch what the Giants are doing with Daniel Jones and, running with his legs to victory. And then, I see Dallas, fully loaded team. But then I go back to this Washington football team and I see how Alex Smith is starting to figure things out. The game's starting to slow down a little bit for him. His defense, has given up some plays, but they still, when you look at these guys, rush the passer, I think they have individually the most talent up front defensively to really cause other teams in this division to worry about them. And so, I like what Washington is doing right now. And like I said, somebody has to win this division. Why not Washington?
I hear that, D-Hall. Well, I think Thursday's game is going to have a lot to do with it. I'm going to say the Dallas Cowboys, just simply because I think they have more NFC East division games left. They have an easier schedule, I think. You see what I'm saying? Because the division just isn't that good. And I think it's going to depend on if Andy Dalton can stay healthy. If Andy Dalton, and we saw it with this last victory over the Minnesota Vikings, if Andy Dalton can stay healthy and they can get some type of a run game, Andy Dalton can make enough plays in the passing game to have this offense look decent. I'm not going to say that it's going to look like it looked when Dak Prescott was there or anything like that. And actually some Dallas Cowboy fans, I think, got upset. They said they messing up our draft pick with Andy Dalton being healthy. But at the end of the day, I think they end up winning this division. And just think about it, guys. I mean, the runner-up to this division could have a top 10 pick. That's just not good. Yeah.
It's wild, you guys. And I know we give them a hard time. It's a whole mess over there. But I'm actually fascinated to see what's going to happen at the end of this and that division, because other than the NFC West, this is the only one that I really have no idea which way it's going to go. By the way, our Kurt Warner sat down with Alex Smith. They're going one-on-one. The full thing will air on Thursday, of course, game day morning. But here's a sneak peek for all of you.
Just tell me about the emotions of running back onto the field and playing the first time. There were probably only 200 fans in the stands. It was pouring rain. I ran over, grabbed my helmet, and next thing I know, I'm calling a play.
Some pressure, and there's the first time Alex Smith is hit as he's taken down and sacked.
Crazy to have that first hit and, Aaron Donald jumping on your back. But obviously it felt amazing too. That first hit, you've had in a long time. It always felt nice to know for me.